Now Treyarch has a habit of having loose ends and not tying them up, and we've already delved into quite a fair amount of that, and we will be doing a ton more over the next few weeks, but I want to focus today's video on a particular character which I'm sure most of you are aware of now. And that, my friends, is none other than Dr. Peter McCain. Now there might be a few of you watching who have absolutely no idea who Peter McCain is, and in this video we're going to be talking a little bit about his backstory and where we've seen him, because we have seen him in Black Ops 3 Zombies, and we even see him in the Revelations part of the Origins recap, and that's something that I want to focus on a little bit later in the video. Now both his original timeline and the Origins timeline ring true, but there are a few little differences here and there. So originally he was an OSS spy sent to infiltrate Group 935. He was sent on a mission somewhere in Munich, but he was actually transferred to Verrückt. Now when Cornelius Purnell, who was Peter's handler, suspected his identity had been compromised, a team led by Tank Dempsey was sent to Verrückt to rescue him, but he'd already left by the time they arrived, and Dempsey, the only survivor of that team, was captured and experimented on. Bear in mind, that is all in the original timeline. Then at some point later he was sent to a Division 9 facility in Japan by plane, parachuting in. Unfortunately his parachute got caught in the roof of one of the buildings, and that's how he became the hanging man within Shinonuma. Now the funny thing about Black Ops 3 Zombies is it completely throws away everything that happened originally, so you can pretty much just ignore everything I just said, because in the Origins timeline he never died in Shinonuma. It wasn't until Der Eisendrache where we first heard again of Peter in a mission log. He says he's over the site looking down through the open door where he can see weird distortion like a localized aurora borealis. He'd normally cancel the operation, but he didn't have any time. Luckily he's taken experimental weaponry version 3 that no one has seen before from his previous mission. That of course was talking about the Ray Gun Mark III, which we didn't see until Gorod Krovi, and he's literally speaking about that moment in Gorod Krovi, because we see that massive rift in space-time where he travels to the dimension of Gorod Krovi, and we see him physically again falling from the sky, supposedly unconscious, in the Gorod Krovi intro cutscene, and that's where you guys are probably most familiar of him from. Now it's debatable that rather than him jumping out of the plane towards Japan, he fell through the portal to the skies over Stalingrad, where the Origins characters were pursuing the World War II version of Nikolai, and it seems that the crew used Peter's parachute to successfully land in Stalingrad. Now here's the interesting thing, because we see our characters hold on to Peter. You can clearly see it's Peter, everyone knows it is, they're holding on to him and they land successfully. You can see our crew manage to land in Gorod Krovi, you see the parachute, but you don't see Peter at all. Looking realistically at this situation, he was falling from the sky unconscious. He was not really at all moving, he never seemed to be alive, so from the effects of landing like that and not seeing him, there's a possibility that he has died. He may have been disattached from that parachute that the crew were using. There's no mention at all in quotes or in the actual cutscene itself of seeing Peter land with those characters, so that begs a really interesting question of if he is still alive or not. Now once we finished the Easter egg in Gorod Krovi and we didn't hear a single mention of Peter McCain, we just assumed that maybe he was dead, and that we were disappointed that there wasn't any more storyline continued on from that. Now we jump to Revelations where we have the Origins recap, and for a split second, for like one single frame in that trailer, you can see Peter in Revelations wielding an MX Garand. Now some may argue it could just be any old soldier. Why would it be Peter? Well, it makes a ton of sense for it to be Peter, as we've never had anything since Gorod Krovi, and it just would feel so weird for them to end Black Ops 3 without mentioning or sort of opening up his story a little bit. I say that because in the original games he held a lot of importance. There was a lot of history and significance to his existence in the story, and with all these characters coming back and him being back for such a brief amount of time, it doesn't make sense for him to be cut off so short. And then we see in this one singular frame in the Revelations trailer that we can see him here in one of the areas in Revelations wielding an MX Garand. Now we never see him in the map itself, at least to my knowledge. We've done the main Easter egg, we've done quite a lot of the side Easter eggs, at least from what we know, and we've never seen Peter appear appear, which is extremely weird. The likelihood is that Treyarch are going to explain and maybe show him off a tiny bit in the cinematic trailer when it releases for PC and Xbox, and in that way could potentially have some more storyline for him, but it just doesn't make sense because he seemed to be dead from where he was flying down from the sky with that parachute in Gorod Krovi. We never saw him, and here he's alive and fighting. I'm just sat here like, what the heck? How is this possible? There are still a ton of ciphers on Revelations which aren't going to be solved anytime soon, although there's been 2 so far, and Jason said that these are apparently impossible, so it may not be long before one of the ciphers that does get found will explain some more backstory to Peter McKay, maybe his last mission log and how he ended up in Revelations for a brief amount of time. I just really hope if there's like a second Easter egg or an alternative ending that we get to see Peter, there's some sort of huge explanation into why he's here, because it doesn't make any sense. For Treyarch to include him in a trailer as well, it has to make some sort of sense of the story or the map flow or something like that. But let me know down below in the comment section, what do you think right now of Peter in Revelations? Do you think we're going to be getting a lot of backstory with him in the trailer? Do you think we can get him in the actual map? I'd love to get your feedback. But drop the video a like rating if you enjoyed, subscribe for more awesome zombie content, and I'll catch you on another one very, very soon.